and tracking system will actually help cut down on the black market.
The MAC are Miracle Alien Cookies from Lodestar. And we've had product from probably 30 different caregivers at this point.
Regulating the state's marijuana industry, new rules that retail owners like Jackson McLeod at Atlantic Farms are happy to follow.
I think if you're in this business and you're not expecting it, you're going to run into some issue. It's going to force people to go from operating in somewhat of a gray area to then being fully compliant. 8th of Skywalker.
Maine's Department of Administrative and Financial Services will use a new software system that tracks marijuana growth and sales. 12 other states already use this same system called Metric. License holders will pay $40 a month, as well as plant tag and packaging label fees. McLeod says these regulations legitimize this growing and changing industry, making the experience better for customers.
They know what to expect, and they know who they're working with, as opposed to it being you kind of show up and you get what you get.
So some businesses already have point-of-sale systems that are compliant with this new software, so it's going to make that transition a bit easier. Now, the Department of Administrative and Financial Services is going to host a series of training sessions for caregivers, dispensaries, and their employees to help learn this new software. And that first session is on April 11th in Augusta. Coming up tonight on News Center Maine at 6, Samantha York is going to explain a vote that the city of Portland is going to take tonight about where these types of medical and retail marijuana businesses can take place.
All right, Chris Costa, thank you very much. So it is the calm before the storm. And
cold before the storm.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was calm, but it's been cold the past couple of days where you're just like, okay, that bites a little bit.
No windows down today,
yeah, no short sleeves today.
No windows down today.
Lindsay is in that Jimmy Buffett mindset when it's 33 degrees.
It's true. You know, it's like 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm like, it's 35 degrees somewhere.
Yeah, you got to do it to get through Maine winters. You got to enjoy it. All right, here comes the snow. You notice, though, it's really ragged looking. It's getting eaten up by the dry air. So the reports thus far are that the snow is not hitting the ground, even though it looks close. So that's something we'll be watching the next couple of hours, kind of getting eaten up by that dry air. But there's still more where it came from. Very disorganized storm system at this point. It's just a warm front that's going to lift through overnight tonight and into tomorrow. And this is the type of storm we've been getting a lot this season, where it's just been a warm front lifting through, and we've gotten a couple of inches from it. So that's kind of what we're getting overnight tonight. Current temperatures, 20s, teens. So when the storm starts, it'll be all snow. And for the majority of the storm, it is snow before we mix over to maybe a little sleet on the back end along the coastline and a little rain, but it's kind of irrelevant. So the snow moves in tonight, the real stuff around 10 or midnight, depending over western Maine and southern Maine, and then overspreading the state by 2 or 3. This is the heaviest part of the storm while a lot of us sleep. Snowing still tomorrow morning, but it's a quick moving progressive storm. So by late morning, it's out of southern Maine, and we may actually break out, guys, to some sunshine. Could be in the 40s tomorrow afternoon and melt some of the snow that we got in the morning.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll check in with you later on. Meanwhile, President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, will be heading to prison in May instead of in March. A federal judge has granted Cohen a 2-month extension. Cohen's attorneys requested the delay, citing the need for additional recovery time following recent shoulder surgery. The extension will likely give Cohen more time to prepare for his testimony to 3 congressional committees.
Senator Bernie Sanders has raised more than $6 million just over 24 hours since announcing his 2020 presidential bid. That total was powered by over 225,000 individual donors, according to his campaign. It easily surpasses the previous early fundraising winner, Senator Kamala Harris, who took in $1.5 million in her first 24 hours. Sanders raised about $240 million in his 2016 campaign.
All right, we're talking about helium. It's the stuff that you use to fill your balloons and make them float, but those days of decorations might be numbered.
There's a global helium shortage, and it's about more than balloons. Researchers and business owners in Maine are feeling the pinch.
In here we have, this is our instrument room.
Inside a lab at the University of New England.
I like to call it the silver bullet.
Amy DeVue's scientific research depends on this machine called NMR.
NMR stands for Nuclear Magnetic Resonance Spectroscopy, and it's an essential tool for chemists because it helps us to figure out the structures of molecules.
It runs on liquid helium, 300 liters at a time, which is becoming more and more difficult to get.
The impact of this is really far-reaching across the board.
Helium is running out.
It's pretty scary, actually.
Helium is a gas that's lighter than air. On Earth, it was created over millions of years through the decay of metals and elements underground. It's extracted from big underground deposits in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, places that have a unique type of rock that traps helium.
There's really nothing right now to replace it.
Science and engineering only accounts for 6% of the global helium demand. Welding accounts for 5%. Diving makes up another 6%, but the largest demand at 20% is for MRI machines. Perhaps this use, though, looks the most familiar.
Everybody is kind of feeling the pinch.
Jim Tarsetti has owned Paper Party House in Portland for the last 4 decades.
We were one of the first party stores to start in New England.
In recent years, it's been a challenge to meet the requests of his loyal customers.
We actually had to limit the customers that we were renting helium tanks to because we couldn't get the helium tanks.
For now, they do have some in stock. The future of helium, for him, is up in the air.
What the future holds for 2019, we're not sure.
Now, scientists estimate that the helium supply will run out in the next 25 years or so. There is hope to make it last a bit longer. Experts are exploring ways to recycle helium. You can now add cybercrimes to the list of things canine units can sniff out during investigations. The Michigan State Police Department now training its 4-legged detectives to find hidden technology. This includes thumb drives, SD cards, and cell phones that could contain explicit child pornography. Canines like this dog, Duggan, participate in a 6-week training which introduces them to electronic chemical odors. We're about halfway through the big week of playoff basketball. Jess Gagne checks in with the latest live from Augusta.
And a viral video is bringing attention to a very important cause among the population of elderly people. We'll have that story coming up.
If you want it. Okay. All right, guys, I have to say, I think I need to sign Lucy up for that canine sniffing out electronics because she loves eating metal. She's eaten every remote we've ever owned, and we're not replacing them because do you know how much remotes are? They're expensive. They're like $80. So we use our phones now as remotes. There's an app for that, obviously. But she chewed a chain link fence before we had her when she was in foster care down in Georgia, and the x-ray shows like the line of the metal going through her stomach, and she's fine now, but her breath still smells like metal. I feel like this is her calling.
Wow.
We need to sign her up.
She's got a career, huh?
I know. Do you think the South Portland Canine Squad would take her?
Ask her.
If you guys are watching.
Somebody had a question for you about why do you need helium for MRIs?
That's a great question. There's a big magnetic force that's in an MRI machine, just like that other little machine that the researchers were using called NMR. And helium is, not only is it the second lightest element, it is one of the coldest things you can get. So it's like a natural coolant. So it keeps that magnet cool inside the MRI machines, inside that NMR machine. It's also used by NASA to put out fires in space.
Liam J. Bar's upset he doesn't have a top fan distinction on his name, and he would like to have one of those. So. He's asking you specifically to fix it, so I thought I'd pass it along.
Unfortunately, unable to.
Sorry, J. Bar, that's not Liam's domain.
Deborah says, well, now it's a heck of a time to realize it's running out. Yeah, so it's interesting. Early in our history, not too long ago, the government knew this was going to be an issue. There's only so much as there is. We can't make helium. So they made a reserve. As recent as 2015, they sort of ended that reserve situation and started selling the helium again. So it's just really interesting. We use it for so many different things. I didn't realize we used it for all those things that I said today. It's kind of fascinating. My dad's a chemical engineer, and he's been asking me to do this story for like a very long time. So you're welcome. Anyway, I'm peeking over Lee's shoulder because I'm logged out of Facebook.
Oh.
I'll log it back in after the show. I'm just too lazy. Rachel says she misses football.
Yes, it should be year-round. Here we go. Trips to the regional finals at stake in high school basketball starting today.
Very exciting. Jess Gagne is live in Augusta. And who came out to this victorious day today, Jess?
It's Class D action happening here at Lee and Lindsay today, and this morning the girls were on the court. Moving on, Rangeley and Greenville for the girls, and for the boys, afternoon action, Temple moving on, and Forest Hills just finished their game against Greenville. They won 72-37, so the undefeated Forest Hills team moving on as well. Also taking place here today and at all other locations in Portland and in Bangor, they announced the All-Star teams and the Maine McDonald's semifinalists for the Mr. and Miss Basketball Award. That award is giving out annually to the top senior boy and senior girl basketball players in the state. This year's group includes names like Matt Fleming of Bangor and Nick Fiorillo of Scarborough on the boys' side, and Mackenzie Holmes of Gorham, Anna DeWolf of Greeley, and Faith Blethen of Boothbay for the girls.
It's one of those things that, like, going to basketball camps, you always have like older kids who are semi-finalists, and like watching them and being younger and watching older girls be semi-finalists and to finally like be one of those older girls, it means a lot, so I'm excited.
The finalists will be announced after the tournament is over. Now, coming up on News Center Maine at 6 o'clock, you can pretty much sit anywhere you want in the Augusta Civic Center, guys, except for one seat. And I'll tell you why coming up on News Center at 6. Back to you.
All right, Jess, thank you very much. So today is National Love Your Pet Day. You know we will be talking about that.
Just make sure you save some love for Keith's forecast. You're going to need it. Bye. Yeah, you want to switchies? You can have this one and I'll have this one. Bob says dogs have been around to sniff out drives for a few years now. Very interesting. Bob, do you know of any? We'd love to do maybe a localized story. That'd be cool. What's going on, Cam?
Hey.
Cam's on the cute beat.
I know. I got lucky.
Did you end up finding out the science behind the aggression we feel?
Yeah. So basically, it's the reward and the emotion centers of the brain are hyperstimulated. So you're like,
right? Like, it's so fluffy. I'm gonna die.
Yeah. And it's basically your brain just being like, you know, when you pet cats too much and they're like, and they bite you. It's kind of like that.
Tito does that. He's like a cat.
Yeah.
Oh man, did you? It was funny because I was at the University of New England today too for my story, and then I know you were trying to reach out to them.
No, I think a lot of people are on break, President's Day break, so
it's tough.
Yeah,
a lot of people have kids that are on their February break, so then they take this time off and yada yada yada. But I did hear them talking about that on campus today, which was interesting.
That's so fun.
But yeah, I know. It's like all the phrases you catch yourself saying, like, so cute I could eat you up.
Yeah, like a baby. Like, we want to eat baby's legs. Why? You know?
I know why.
That's not normal.
Why do we want to eat the children's legs?
Eat the child's legs.
I know, especially when they have lots of rolls.
Chubby legs.
Yes, I know. But yeah, so exciting. Did anything were you extra intrigued by anything you discovered today?
Yeah, I actually have a couple studies that I'll be talking about. You know, there's always the cat person versus the dog person. So what are those personality differences? I'll be talking about that.
Oh, I like that.
This is really interesting. And then the health benefits of having a pet. It actually is very good for you.
Is it? So it outweighs the stress.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. Because they can be stressful.
I have to remind myself because my pets are a pain.
Right. They are sometimes.
They can be.
They are, especially when the medical bills and stuff add up.
Yep.
So it just gets to be a lot. I keep thinking that this monitor is what's on Facebook, but it's not. It's just the Steadicam. Liam's on it. We're still on the Facebook cam. Guys, round of applause for Liam today. He got a huge station award. He's shaking his head. Right. It's true. We're proud.
Can I see where I am?
Yes.
Okay, weather, and then Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
There's been a video going around the internet over the last couple days. It features a Maine woman and her mom. It is very raw, it is very emotional, and it is very necessary to be seen. January 27th started off as just another day in the life of MJ Grant and her mother Carmen. They were spending some quality mom and daughter time together when MJ realized that something was a little bit off with her mom, who battles dementia.
When we were sitting there, we were just having a conversation, and I could tell in the conversation that she didn't realize who I was. And that's when I asked her, "Where's MJ?" And that's when I realized that she had no idea that I was her daughter.
As the video goes on, the two communicate back and forth, and a few minutes in, her mom realizes that MJ is her daughter. That magical moment of recognition was so special, MJ decided to share it on social media.
I knew in some way I would have some level of support from people who might understand what it's like to have a parent with dementia, but not just that, but a parent who is deaf.
What she did not realize was that millions and then tens of millions of people across the world would watch the video, connect with it, share it. It has moved people, and in return has given a gift to MJ, one she wasn't even aware she needed.
I don't think I stop in those moments and think how special it really is, and then putting it out there and then seeing people's reactions, and you know, it's like a recognition of how special and kind of momentous it is.
The video and reaction to it has also brought into focus the desperate need for more services for the elderly deaf population.
Across the country, across the world, who are saying, "I'm going through this with my parent too, and I don't know what to do." You know, there's just not enough out there for them, and there needs to be. There's no excuse. There's no reason why there shouldn't be.
Now, MJ's father is also deaf, and MJ herself is a sign language interpreter for a living. So that is a lot to take on as a child, to have to take care of your parents, not just their physical needs, but their communicative needs. And there needs to be more help, as she stated. So hopefully that will happen.
Not the easiest language to learn. I've taken several classes over time, and only little things stick. You have to stay with it, or else you'll lose it. Very sweet, very sweet. Oh, man, are we really going to be dealing with a rough commute tomorrow morning?
Yeah, you know, we are. I had somebody message me and say, this is great for like plow guys because they're showing up for all these relatively small storms. We haven't had a real whopper yet, and I don't see it in the forecast. So we're above average for snow. Is it almost? It doesn't seem that way, right?
Doesn't seem that way.
Doesn't seem like that kind of winter, but it has been. The numbers don't lie. Here's our next one. With some dry air eating at it, you can see very clearly, and I knew this was the case because the dew points are really, really low, but just this appearance of the radar shows dry air just chomping at this storm. Good thing, because otherwise it'd be way, way earlier than forecast, but the dry air will delay it. And it's just a discombobulated warm front here, cold front back here kind of storm system. It's not coastal, doesn't have any bombogenesis to do. It's just going to slide in here overnight tonight and give us at least one round of pretty good snow in the early morning hours. Here are the dew points, dry, single digits. So we've got to get these to the temperature to get the snow to hit the ground. So we've got a little while to go. So the radar may show snow, you know, earlier tonight, but it's not going to get to the ground until later. So hour by hour forecast, it looks like between 10 and midnight over western and southern Maine. And it comes in pretty fast and hard then. So by 2, 3 in the morning, it's snowing consistently, heavily, but it doesn't do it for long. So you get an inch an hour for an hour or two, and that's really your storm. Tomorrow morning, it's snowing pretty heavily as well. There would be delays if there was school, but there isn't, so we don't have to worry about it. Commute's going to be a little rough, though, through the morning, and then it clears out quickly. In fact, by tomorrow afternoon, over southern and western Maine, I think it'll be sunny and in the 40s. So it'll feel very much like a late spring snowstorm. And then Friday looks nice, bright as well. No changes to the forecast. Map here, 3 to 5 inches, 5 to 6, 5 to 6 into the mountains as well. And I think most of us fall into that 4-inch range or so. Just a few bullseyes here and there. Our next storm system will be on Saturday night into Sunday. That's a tad warmer, but there'll be some cold air damming coming down from the north. And so it's going to be a real knife fight between rain and snow. And I think rain wins out just along the coastline, but inland, could be substantial amounts of snow and sleet mixing in. And I think for the mountains, this will be a pretty good hit on Sunday. It could be 10 inches plus. So we'll get a map out for that storm once we get through this storm, but one thing at a time. And then my beautiful blizzard for next week on Wednesday isn't there in the models today. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. All right, so your inland forecast showing you that storm system and then mixing on Sunday. By the way, 2 nice days, really nice days, Friday and Saturday. What you don't see much of until mid next week is really cold air. We stay in the 40s, upper 30s for highs, and then we start to cool down as we head into Wednesday. And again, we're watching a storm for mid next week. But overall, guys, active but not brutally cold. I'll take it.
I'll take it too. It's National Love Your Pet Day, and we're all pet lovers here, so of course this is very exciting.
Kind of a big deal around these parts. Cameron O'Brien had the joy of surfing social media today, checking out the cute pictures. What a tough assignment for you today. Are you okay?
I mean, it was the hardest job I've ever done in my life.
Are you all right?
Oh my God, I'm so tired. Bless it. No, literally the greatest day of my life. And we had a Facebook post early this morning asking people to post pictures of their pets, and y'all showed up and showed out. I'm talking about 500 likes, 1.5 thousand comments, hundreds of shares, and here are some of the greatest. We got Miss Sniff Sniff. Oh, I guess she just disappeared. We've got Rescue Brandy. Look at all of these beautiful cats here, a little dog there. So beautiful. We love our pet pictures. But we've got some interesting studies to show you as well. One is from the CDC. Check this out. It's really healthy for you to have a pet. Decrease blood pressure, decrease cholesterol, and also decrease feelings of loneliness. So that's all well and good, but on this National Love Your Pet Day, we've got to know, are you a cat person? Are you a dog person? And what does that debate say about your personality? So we're going to look at this study from UT Austin. It's a really interesting read if you have the time to kind of sort through everything. 4,000 people were asked to self-identify as a dog or cat person, neither or both. And then they took a personality marker assessment, and results showed that dog people on the whole are more sociable than cat people, being 15% more extroverted and 11% more conscientious. Now, in comparison, cat people were generally about 12% more neurotic, which I find hilarious because I'm a cat person, but 11% more open emotionally than dog people. Okay, so we're going to shift gears again. So when you see a cat or a dog or any animal that you think is so cute that you just want to like squeeze it or eat it or something like that, well, that is called cute aggression. And you might feel weird or guilty about it. I kind of do, but don't. A study recently published in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience says that about half of all adults have those feelings, and cute creatures stimulate emotion and reward centers in the brain. That's why we react that way. Okay, the best part of the day, y'all. Look at our babies. We've got the Now family up here representing. We've got Tito. We've got Reese's. We've got Malcolm X, Nina Simone, and George Harrison. Those are my 3. We've got Kai, all of the wonderful pets here. It's been so fun. This is, like I said, it's the hardest day of my life, y'all. I've never worked harder in my life. Ever.
No time to name all of mine. So.
Maddox
the show will be over. Maddox is definitely
Maddox is the scruffy one, and I love him. He also wears a diaper at times. It's okay. A lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Let's check in with Cindy Williams for a preview. Hey, Cindy, what's going on?
Hi, guys. A group of bipartisan lawmakers and teachers came together today to show their support for a bill that would prevent what's called food shaming in public schools. Basically, part of the proposed legislation would prevent school districts from dealing directly with students about their school lunch debt, also prevent them from substituting the types of meals they get if they owe money. February is American Heart Month, and we're going to meet a woman who says she is lucky to be alive. She was diagnosed with heart disease over 2 years ago and coded 29 times on the operating table. Back to you.
Wow, what a story. All right, stick with us. Brain drops when we come back. So guys, Lee was going to make a funny joke.
Well, as she was describing Maddox, she said, he's my favorite. I love him. He's so scruffy. And I was about to jump in and say, oh, just like Clay. But as I got ready to say the oh, she goes, and he wears a diaper sometimes. So I almost still went with it and said just like Clay, but I decided to not because that would have been really funny.
It would have been hysterical. I would have died.
Yeah, so. But I didn't want us laughing going into whatever Cindy was going to talk about at 5:30 because if it was really sad and serious, and
right, you run that risk.
Clay in his diaper, that wouldn't have gone well. So.
You run that risk. I just love Maddox so much, and your black lab can jump so high.
Know, she's a leaper.
And Husky.
Husky's my husky.
And Zion.
Zion's the old man.
I know all the names.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's a lot to remember at the Goldberg house.
That was just the dogs. We didn't have time for the cats.
There's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the cats.
Gus Jones.
Gus Jones is one. Coco knows.
Gus Jones.
Like Skippy John Jones. His name is actually Gus, but we call him Gus Jones for Skippy John Jones.
That's funny.
That's the only one I know. What's the other one?
Because Skippy John Jones is a Siamese cat who thinks he's a Chihuahua. If you read the kids' books, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you're probably like, what are you talking about?
So, and the other one?
Well, we got Dante. Dante is the oldest.
Dante. Is Dante the long-haired one?
Yeah, he's my wife's longest male relationship in her life. It's been like 20 years with that cat.
Do you need to talk about this? Or?
That's good. Dante, and then there's Gus, there's Fritz, there's Dash.
I left my dress and my makeup at home today. I've officially lost my brain.
5 cats?
Yeah, you don't pay attention when you come over?
No, I just feel like I've only ever seen 2 or 3 of them.
Isaac, what'd you say?
At least it's an excuse to buy new stuff.
Okay.
We use our company makeup.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
What's the theme?
I don't know.
I don't really either.
Oh, of course.
I like the stuff I have. I'm not a big fan of change when it comes to makeup.
Do you use MAC or?
I use a little bit of MAC because if you get 6 empty containers, you get a free lipstick. If you recycle 6 empty containers.
Talking about
Pro tip. Yeah. For Karen, if you want to get her some free lipstick, save 6 empty MAC containers, bring them to Macy's, exchange them, you get a free lipstick. That's how I get my lipstick.
Did not know that.
All right, get over here, Lee.
No, we're doing snapping it first.
Nobody tells me
We're snapping
anything.
first.
Here's what's snapping, and guess what the theme is? Pets. No way. Didn't see that coming.
Shocker.
There's a snap of a nice little kitty.
Look at that filter
Is that really
action.
a filter, or is that really that orange? I
Let's
feel like
hope it's a
that's probably
filter.
a filter, yeah.
Yeah, let's hope it's a filter.
Oh, look at the face.
The wrinkles. I know.
That's a good face right
None
there.
of them want to go outside today.
Everybody's always
cold.
happy to share, snap, text, tweet, Insta, anything of their
sheep.
pets.
Sheep are pets too.
Oh, are they counting sheep though? Because it's late night.
Scratching
Maybe that's
sheep.
how they're trying to go to bed.
That's perfect.
I'm just saying.
I love it. Thanks, guys, for sharing.
All right, JJ the jet plane, what's going on over here?
So last night we talked about the extreme speed some of those planes were reaching over the eastern seaboard because of the jet stream. And we talked about sonic boom. Jess can attest to the fact that 5 or 6 minutes later I had this thought process of, wait a second, you wouldn't get a sonic boom because that's ground speed, not airspeed. Oh. And I also talked to a pilot last night, Jim from Yarmouth. He flies a 737, and we talked in depth about this. Okay, ready for this? So ground speed is exactly what it sounds like. Lee's standing here, and it's what the plane speed is relative to Lee on the Earth. So in the case of a strong wind, if the airspeed of the plane is 500 miles an hour, it gets a tailwind. The ground speed is 700 miles an hour, which is what we were seeing yesterday, 700 to 800 miles an hour, which is really fast. You get there fast. However, what creates a sonic boom is airspeed, how fast the plane is moving relative to the air. Because think about it, this wind is a parcel of air traveling with the plane. And so you're not breaking the speed of sound within that parcel unless you go airspeed over 767 miles an hour. Jim also shared with me that 737s are not rated for Mach 1, so they can't do that. Their fuselage is not designed to go that fast. So you can go, conceivably, 900 miles an hour ground speed, but because of the limits of the plane, you're not going to, and because you can't create sonic booms anymore, you're not going to break the speed of sound officially.
So would you use less fuel?
You definitely would use less fuel. And that's why airlines like to ride the tailwinds.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so do passengers. Get there quicker.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
You said Maine at 5:30 starts right now. Bye, guys.
Bye, Facebook. Thank you. Have a good day.